Portugal's role in the Cold War, a strategic balancing act. Political alignment and NATO membership. Portugal's role in the Cold War was defined by its unique blend of authoritarianism and strategic value. Under the Estado Novo regime, led by António Salazar and later Marcelo Caetano, Portugal was a staunchly anti-communist state. This alignment with Western Cold War objectives made it an unlikely but essential ally. Despite its authoritarian regime, Portugal became a founding member of NATO in 1949. You may ask yourself why. The answer is Portugal's geographic strategic position. Portugal's location on the Iberian Peninsula and its control of the Azores archipelago made it a critical player in transatlantic defense. The Azores served as a vital refueling and logistics hub, ensuring Portugal's place at the NATO table. But tensions simmered beneath the surface. Portugal's colonial wars in Africa, fought from 1961 to 1974, put it at odds with its NATO allies. While the US and Europe publicly criticized colonialism, they quietly tolerated Portugal's actions to maintain access to military bases like Lajes Field in the Azores. This balancing act between strategic interests and moral rhetoric defined Portugal's Cold War alliances. Strategic logistics, the Azores. The Azores were Portugal's ace in the hole. Lajes Air Base, located on Terceira Island, became a linchpin of NATO's transatlantic operations. During the 1973 Yom Kippur War, the U.S. used Lajes to airlift supplies to Israel, showcasing the base's strategic importance. Portugal leveraged this asset to its advantage. In exchange for base access, Portugal secured economic aid and political leniency from the U.S. and NATO. This bargaining chip allowed Portugal to maintain its colonial policies, even as the world moved toward decolonization. The Azores weren't just a military asset, they were a diplomatic lifeline. Colonial wars as proxy conflicts. Portugal's colonial wars in Africa, Angola, Mozambique, and Guinea-Bissau became proxy battlegrounds for Cold War rivalries. Independence movements like Angola's MPLA and Mozambique's Frelimo received support from the Soviet Union and Cuba, framing these conflicts within the broader struggle between East and West. The U.S. found itself in a delicate position. Publicly, it distanced itself from colonialism, but privately, it provided covert aid to Portugal to counter Soviet influence. NATO allies supplied weapons, indirectly supporting Portugal's counterinsurgency efforts. These wars dragged on for over a decade, draining Portugal's resources and straining its alliances. Espionage and intelligence. Lisbon, a neutral hub during World War II, remained a hotspot for espionage during the Cold War. Intelligence agencies like the CIA and KGB operated in the shadows, monitoring shipping routes, decolonization efforts, and African conflicts. Portugal's secret police, the PIDE, collaborated with Western agencies to suppress communist activities both at home and in the colonies. This cooperation allowed Portugal to share intelligence on Soviet-backed movements, further cementing its value to NATO. Lisbon wasn't just a city, it was a chessboard in the global game of espionage. The role of Radio Free Europe in Glória do Alentejo. While Lisbon buzzed with spies, a quiet village in southern Portugal played a different kind of Cold War role. Glória do Alentejo became home to a Radio Free Europe transmission station in the 1960s. Funded by the U.S. government, Radio Free Europe was a key tool in the ideological battle against communism, broadcasting news, propaganda, and cultural programs to Eastern Europe. The Glória do Alentejo station was strategically located to beam signals into Soviet-controlled territories, bypassing jamming efforts. For decades, it served as a voice of dissent, reaching millions behind the Iron Curtain. While Portugal's authoritarian regime had its own censorship policies, it allowed Radio Free Europe to operate, further aligning itself with Western Cold War objectives. This station was a reminder that the Cold War wasn't just fought with tanks and spies, it was also a war of ideas, and Portugal played a quiet but crucial role in that battle. What it transmitted. News and current events. Radio Free Europe provided accurate, unbiased news about global and local events, often contradicting state-controlled media in communist countries. Political commentary, analysis of Soviet policies, critiques of authoritarian regimes, and discussions of human rights abuses. Cultural programs, music, literature, and art from the West, promoting cultural freedom and creativity. Encouragement of dissent. Radio Free Europe aimed to inspire hope and resistance among listeners, often broadcasting messages of solidarity with anti-communist movements. Radio Free Europe broadcasted in the native languages of the countries behind the Iron Curtain, including Russian for the Soviet Union, Polish, Czech, Slovak, Hungarian, Romanian, Bulgarian, Estonian, Latvian, Lithuanian, Ukrainian, Serbo-Croatian, and Albanian. Radio Free Europe became a vital source of information for millions behind the Iron Curtain, earning the nickname, the Voice of the Free World. Its broadcasts played a significant role in undermining communist regimes and fostering dissent, particularly during key events like the Hungarian Revolution of 1956 and the Prague Spring of 1968. In short, Radio Free Europe was a powerful tool in the Cold War's ideological battle, using words and ideas to fight for freedom. Post-revolution shifts. In 1974, Portugal's Cold War trajectory changed dramatically. The Carnation Revolution, an almost bloodless coup led by the armed forces movement, toppled the Estado Novo regime. The revolution triggered rapid decolonization, ending Portugal's colonial empire. For a brief moment, Portugal teetered on the edge of communism. Leftist factions within the military aligned with communist groups, alarming NATO. However, moderate forces ultimately prevailed, steering Portugal toward democracy. The revolution marked a turning point, shifting Portugal's focus from empire to European integration. Economic and diplomatic dynamics. Economically, Portugal lagged behind its European neighbors. The Estado Novo regime prioritized military spending over development, leaving the country in a state of austerity. However, NATO membership brought U.S. aid and trade links, providing a lifeline for Portugal's struggling economy. After the 1974 revolution, Portugal shifted its focus to European integration. In 1986, it joined the European Union, marking a new chapter in its history. While Portugal's global role diminished, it maintained cultural and diplomatic ties to its former colonies, now part of the Lusophone world. In conclusion, Portugal's Cold War significance lay in its strategic geography, NATO contributions, and colonial conflicts that intersected with superpower rivalries. While its authoritarianism complicated alliances, the regime's anti-communism and control of the Azores ensured Western support. The 1974 revolution marked a pivotal shift, ending colonialism and aligning Portugal with democratic Europe. Today, Portugal's Cold War legacy is a reminder of how small nations can play outsized roles in global conflicts, not through sheer power, but through strategic value and resilience. And let's not forget the quiet village of Gloria do Alentejo, where radio waves carried the hopes of freedom to millions behind the Iron Curtain. Portugal's Cold War story is one of contradictions, compromises, and quiet contributions that shaped the course of history. Thank you for watching. For more insights into global politics, juicy secrets, personal stories, and military dynamics, please like, subscribe, share, and stay tuned. The video scripts in this channel are thoroughly researched and based on true but maybe not known events and trends. Any information presented is easily cross-checked by precise research by the viewer. Audio and video are AI generated. This channel is a one-man show. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and stay tuned.